What were you doing before Metal Church, if I could just get this out of the way? You were in Heretic, right?
I was in Heretic for like 8 months. When I was younger, I was in a heavy metal band in my home city of Detroit, Michigan when I was young, and the 5 of us heavy metal men decided to move to Los Angeles to pursue our metal career in the Los Angeles area. And so we moved there, and we did the bar scene there for about a year and a half to 2 years, and we kind of parted ways, and that's when I joined Heretic. And so they had a record contract with Metal Blade Records, and so we went into the studio fairly soon after I joined them to record the Breaking Point, and that was produced by Kurt Bendrith.
All right.
So that was my first. Yeah, that's when I first met Kurt, and he and I really hit it off in the studio recording the Breaking Point with Heretic. And then soon after that, he asked me if I was interested in trying out for Metal Church, and because he and I got along so well in the studio, I thought I'd give it a try, and the rest is history, as they say.
This is before you joined the band, but I still remember where I was when I first heard Metal Church for the first time, and it woke me up on a Saturday morning. I was staying at a friend's place, and I'm just like, holy crap, what is that? And so I'm very familiar with Metal Church from way back in the beginning. What was it like joining Metal Church at the time? Must have been a big step.
Yeah, it was very exciting. I mean, it was they were on a major label, and they had a record almost completely ready to go, and it was very exciting. So I, as soon as I joined Metal Church, as soon as I went up to Seattle to try out for the band, so the other guys could meet me, and I played some songs in their rehearsal studio with them, and Kurt was excited about a song he'd written called Anthem to the Estranged, and so he had a little 4-track studio, Tascam studio in the rehearsal studio there, so he recorded me singing over that because he wanted to hear how I sound on tape. And then I was there for a few days, and then I went home, and I think it was a week or two later, Kurt called me and said if I wanted the job, it's mine. And I went right up there, and we immediately went into the studio back in Pennsylvania and started recording Blessing in Disguise. And as soon as that was recorded, we got out on the road, and we were on the road for over a year to support that. So it was just kind of like baptism by fire, jumping in. It was very exciting.
Now, you did 3 albums with them. What's your main memory of those times? I mean, it must have been hectic. You just mentioned going on the road for a year. That's crazy stuff.
Yeah, it is crazy. But, that's what you were dreaming of doing, right? So it was exciting, but the road is a hard place to be, too, at the same time, because you're traveling from city to city, and it's quite a hectic lifestyle. And being a singer, sometimes you get sick, and and you try to take care of yourself on the road is a difficult thing to do. But yeah, it was, like I said, we were living the dream when we were 20 somethings, and that's all we really thought about. So it was pretty exciting.
Metal Church even made it onto MTV back in the day, but you weren't your typical MTV band. Let's just put it that way. So that's good. What are your main memories of that?
Well, there was a program called the Headbangers Ball, and that's where we were played on the midnight to 3 in the morning show with Ricky Rackman, and that was where we did our videos for Badlands, and that did well. And then when we did the follow-up album, Human Factor, the Date with Poverty video, did very well on that show. I think it was like the #1 Headbangers Ball video for 3 or 4 weeks in a row when it came out, and that was very exciting.
Why did the band split? Did it just sort of fade away? Was there a sudden incident? What happened?
Well, we split because of the pressures and the misguided notions of management and record company, because when you're 20-something years old, you kind of you hope that you have more control over what your destiny is. But in the music business, it's hard to do that. You're just young guys that want to play music and record music, but it takes a lot more than that to be successful. And if you're in that position where you're not 100% in charge and sure of your direction and all those things that are important to be in control of yourself, other influences like management and record company try to interject and make you do things that they think that you should do that would be better for you. And ultimately, that was the downfall. I kept seeing the writing on the wall, and just a basic example is the cover of Hanging in the Balance. I really hated that cover, and I didn't want it going out, but because of pressures of the management company and all that pressuring us, it still went out. So those kind of things, and I was getting really disenfranchised, and it was starting to grate on me, and it was killing the music for me and why I wanted to do it. So I thought I'd get out before it really wrecked it for me.
Okay. Fast forward to 2014, and from the notes I have, you were contacted about getting back together with the band. How did that come about? Is that how it happened?
That's exactly how it happened. Kurt had called me the end of 2014, and he was, in split ways with Ronnie, and he was at the end of his rope with Metal Church, and it was a daunting task to think of getting a fourth Metal Church singer. So he thought he'd try his luck and call me and see if I was interested in coming back. And at first I was not interested, but I was open to talk to Kurt about the possibility, but I really didn't want to. But he convinced me that because of the age of digital, file sharing and all that it would, not take away from the home life as much as I thought it would, and he was right. And so I said, so we took a baby steps and said, well, let's see if we can write good songs first before I commit to anything else. And that's basically how we started. And we wrote a bunch of songs, and they turned out really good. So we recorded them, and we were super happy with the results of the album. And so then we said we have to take it on the road.
Now, 11 came out in March 2016. How? I mean, you mentioned the file sharing thing. Did the band get together all in the one place and record it, or did you record like vocal parts and send it to them? How did it go these days?
So for us, Kurt has a studio in his house, and it really helps the band, afford to be a band and afford to record, because he's an amazing songwriter, producer, engineer, all that, mixer. He does it all, and so that is really what affords Metal Church to stay afloat and be able to do this. And so what happens is he'll write a bunch of songs, the structures of songs, and send them to me, and I'll listen to them. And when he gets a good handful of them, I'll go up to his house and get in his studio, and he'll throw up a microphone in front of his console, and I'll just start screaming out melodies, and some lyrics will come out and whatever, and we just kind of go at it like that. We don't overthink it, and we just try to feel it and see what comes of it. And that's basically the songwriting.
Yep.
And then once we get enough songs that we're happy with, we re-record the drums. Our drummer recorded in his studio in Vegas, and then Rick and Steve, they live in the Seattle area, so they come down to Kurt's studio and play their parts, and then I fly up and I re-sing and do the final, the vocals for the final album up at his studio.
Where's home for you these days, Mike?
I live in California. I live in Northern California.
Okay. Right, so very soon we're going to have a new album coming out. It's called Damned If You Do. Tell us about this. Well,
yeah, we're very excited about it because we approached it the same way we approached 11, and like starting over again. And the philosophy is, if we can't write an album as good or better than 11, then there's no use going on. And that's my mentality. So let's have fun writing and see what happens. And we did the exact same thing we did before, and we were just happy at the end result of what came out of us, and we were just as surprised as anybody, that we're like, wow, we're really happy with these songs. Because because, like I said, we don't try to overthink it. We just go in there and feel, and see how it sounds, and that sounds great. Oh, that doesn't sound so good, and we move on.
It sounds very metal church, doesn't it?
Yeah, well, I appreciate that, but I think basically it is metal church, right?
Yeah.
It's Kurt Vanderhoof's amazing guitar riffing and my vocals over it and the band playing their thing, But his rhythm playing and his songwriting style has always been the metal church sound. So I just feel very lucky to be part of that.
Tell us about Stet Howland joining.
Yeah, so Jeff played, an amazing drummer and great friend of ours, decided that his time in our band was done and he had other things he was focusing on, like the TSO and all that. So he left. And Steve Unger, our bass player, had known Stet Howland from years ago. They played in a band together called Where Angels Suffer. So he said, hey, I know a guy that might be available. And he called up Stet, and Stet was available. And Stet flew up not long after that and practiced with the band, and we loved him. And it was easy as that. And so it was like a, fate happening. And we did some shows over the summer with him. And when we did our last shows in the fall, I think it was a Prague Fest, the Prague show down in Atlanta, and then we did some club dates up in the New York area. He was feeling sick, and so when we finished that, he went in and had a checkup, and we found out that he had the cancer. So he battled that bravely for many months, and we are happy to say that he's emerged cancer-free and ready to kick ass in the studio, and that's what he did. He came in and recorded and did an excellent job, and we're very happy with his performance and happy that he's in our band and cancer-free.
Excellent. Good luck to him. So the album's out December 7. What's the plan for Metal Church after this is released? You're going on the road, obviously. Where are you going and when?
Well, so far we've only confirmed some European shows. The festival circuit over that is very strong. There's lots of festivals over there, and so that's an easy no-brainer for us when they offer us certain festivals that line up for us. Then we take those, and then we just fill in dates in the club scene around those, and it usually works out really well for us over there. So we've got some in July and in early August over there. But as far as anything else goes, we're negotiating right now with a booking agent, and we're starting to work on dates in the States and wherever else we can go next year.
If I talk to someone such as yourself and don't ask them when they're coming to Australia, I always get shouted at. So when are you coming to Australia?
We've been trying to come to Australia for, since I've been back in the band.
It's a long way, isn't it?
So, yeah, it's a long way, and we would come a long way, but it's got to be financially appropriate for the promoters and for us, so that is the delicate dance we have to do with Australia, and we're really, really keeping our fingers crossed and hope that someone can bring us over there and make it possible, because we can't pay for it ourselves. But like I said, we're still keeping our fingers crossed, and we're working on it.
We'll keep our fingers crossed too. Right, Mike from Metal Church, great to talk to you today. You've got that new album, Damned If You Do, coming out on December 7th. Excellent, fantastic. Good luck with that. Good luck with your tours on the road, and we'll keep our fingers crossed. Hopefully see you down here sometime soon.
Yes, thank you very much, Mal. I very much appreciate talking to you as well. And hello to all the Metal Church fans in Australia. We love you, and we very much appreciate your support and hope to see you sometime soon.